my name is Joelle Piercy. I'm the Director of Outreach and Community Engagement here at Safe and Sound Somerset. I'm here today with Tonya McKinley to learn more about Safe and Sound Somerset's Safe House services. Welcome, Tonya.
Thank you, Joelle, and thank you for having me today. As you mentioned, my name is Tonya McKinley, and I'm the Director of Housing and Economic Stability here at Safe and Sound Somerset.
Thank you so much for joining us. Can you tell us a little bit about your role at Safe and Sound Somerset?
Oh, absolutely. So this is relatively a new role. And in my role is I oversee our emergency safe house program as well as our financial empowerment program. So we decided about 8 months ago to integrate both programs together because we found that was going to be a need, especially as we continue to focus on a housing continuum.
You mentioned the word continuum to describe that. Can you talk a little bit about why that's the term we use to describe these programs?
Oh, absolutely. So the reason why that's a term that we use, when survivors are fleeing their relationships, the first thing they do is contact our helpline to look for shelter. So they come into our shelter. And it just doesn't stop there, Joelle. We have to provide services to them to help them secure safe housing, independent long-term. So therefore, it just doesn't stop at the safe house. We continue to provide those services until they're in a location where they have their own independent living, and that is safe.
Mm-hmm. What is the importance of that housing for survivors healing?
The importance of the housing is that we create a place that is inclusive. Our shelter is inclusive. So therefore, when their survivors are entering into our program, they can expect to receive, number one, respect. We take a client-centered approach, and what that means is the decisions that we make, it is focused around how are they going to best benefit, how are they going to heal from some of these decisions and the services that we're providing to our survivors that come into our program.
Mm-hmm. So it sounds like the clients are really treated as real partners in this whole process.
Absolutely. So the focus is when we're having those conversations, Joelle, we say, how can we partner with you? Because as we know, they're coming from relationships where they don't have a voice. We want to give them the voice in making decisions about how they would like their life to look like, so we partner with them.
Mm-hmm. We talk so much in the outreach and education field about how it's so much about domestic violence and sexual violence is about taking away someone's power and control, right? Their ability to make choices, set boundaries, and give or take away consent. And it sounds like you and your team really do an incredible job of creating that space where survivors can find that individual power again.
Absolutely. And so how we do that is when they are meeting with our case managers, we have an intensive case manager, we have case managers. When they are meeting with our staff, we want to find out from them, where would you like to live? Do you feel this is going to be a safe place for you and your family? So those are questions that we actually shift to them. So therefore, they feel good about making these decisions. I had a part to play in me gaining this independence. And we know, as you mentioned, our goal is not to empower them because they already have the power. So our goal is to help them see that. And the best way we can do that is by partnering with them and letting them know that they have a voice.
What would you say is the strength of Safe and Sound Somerset's housing program?
I would have to say the biggest strength is safety. Safety is the biggest strength we provide. We talk about confidentiality. We continuously remind our survivors that we're here to support them. In order for us to support them, we have to continue to focus on the safety because the safety is just sometimes not just with them, it's with their children, sometimes with their family as well. Just being mindful. So survivors having a place to go to is so crucial. And as we know, the cases of domestic violence is increasing rapidly ever since the pandemic and a little bit before that.
You're mentioning an increase in domestic violence and the cases that you're seeing. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing in terms of the needs of survivors in our programs right now?
Okay, so what I'm seeing right now, what we are seeing right now, is an increase of domestic violence in our marginalized community, with our undocumented survivors, black clients as well. And so, unfortunately, with that, even though they're trying to flee their relationships, once they come into their programs, it is our goal to partner, like I said, partner with them, because those from marginalized communities are also facing additional barriers when it comes to housing, when it comes to retreat accessing services. So that's what we're seeing right now. And the helpline calls for those seeking shelters have increased as well.
Yeah, so increase need, but also increase in terms of the complexity of the cases, and it sounds like an increase in obstacles to working with the survivors in terms of um, getting them, the services that they're looking for, and partnering with other organizations. Is that an accurate kind of
That
representation?
is definitely accurate. Those barriers that come with that, and them having to navigate that, we don't want them to navigate that on their own.
Mhm. So we're Safe and Sound Somerset has recently launched a GoFundMe to start our journey to a new safe house.
Mhm.
What would a new safe house do for survivors? What would it do for your programs? What changes could that make?
Wow. So that's a great question. There's so many changes that can make with a new safe house. And the first change is, number one, building the capacity for more survivors. As I mentioned, there has been an increase in need to access our emergency safe house. And so therefore a brand new emergency safe house will allow us to provide additional services to more survivors, meet more survivors, and then also we're able to, with that capacity, that expansion, we're able to have more staff, additional staff to provide services. So no needs go unmet.
Mhm. How would a new safe house help meet the need of the more the diversity of the clients that you've been seeing?
That's great. So when we're thinking about a new safe house, we definitely want to make sure that we're taking a culturally responsive approach when we are thinking about the new safe house. And so therefore, because as I mentioned, also many in the marginalized community, the increase of domestic violence we've seen an uptick in that. And so therefore, creating a brand new program that is centered and focused on being culturally responsive when survivors come into our program, them just feeling comfortable and just coming into a place where they can just breathe. If it's only for a few minutes, just breathe.
Hmm. Breath so important
Mhm.
to that feeling of safety. The
Yes,
ability to
absolutely.
take a breath, like how foundational.
Yes.
If someone asked today, why should I support this GoFundMe for a new safe house? How would you respond to them?
Well, Joelle, that is a really, really good question. And how I would respond to it, number one, first of all, I think if someone were to ask me that, I would respond with excitement. And the reason why I would respond to excitement, because that means that someone is like, how can I help? They already have that passion that they want to help. And they know that it is so crucial and vital for us to provide this safe house, number one, so we can expand this services, but then also we can provide more safety and more housing to survivors who are trying to flee their relationship, and we don't have to turn anyone away. So that's the biggest thing I can think of why I would tell someone, please support this campaign.
Thank you so much for being here, Tonya, for your incredible work leading this field in terms of building domestic violence and sexual violence housing programs that are compassionate and serve all survivors. And for everyone here, click on the GoFundMe link. And thank you for watching. Share the link with family, friends, social media, so that we can work together to provide more services to all survivors, building safety in our community. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me, Joelle.
Thank you.